If you, like millions of others, suffer with chronic low back pain, then these 6 gentle exercises will gradually help you manage the condition in the long term. Hi everyone, and welcome to Exercise for Health. I'm Richard, and I have a short exercise routine for you to follow to improve the management of your low back pain and stiffness. If you're new to this channel, we offer tips, advice and exercises each week to help you manage your health condition with physical activity. So go ahead and tap the subscribe button below and the bell icon if you want to be notified of when we upload a new video. Now, I would suggest that these conditioning exercises are performed on at least 3 days a week to gain the benefits from it, either on its own or as part of a regular workout. You can do it any time of the day, except maybe first thing in the morning after you wake up, when your spine is a little bit more vulnerable. It would be good to combine this with an evening stretching routine, which I did last week, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to see that one afterwards. You may feel some discomfort in the back while doing these exercises, but this will be likely due to the weaker muscles around it being worked. But if you do experience any severe pain, then you should stop straight away. As with the stretching routine, these exercises are designed for general low back pain and may not be suitable for people with a serious spinal condition. The first 2 exercises start on the floor and the remaining 4 will be done standing. So get yourself ready and let's get started. We're going to start off this exercise routine with the cat camel. This is a great warm-up exercise and you can do this before any physical activity or sport to help with your back because it really helps lubricate the spine. So we're going to do 6 of these movements each way. So to start off with, we want your hands to be directly underneath your shoulders and your knees to be directly underneath your hips. And then the movement from there is you're going to get a forward tilt of the pelvis to try and drop the belly button down towards the floor. So you should then create that dip into the lower part of your back. And then you're going to push the lower part of the back up to the ceiling, which is tilting the pelvis backwards, tucking the tailbone of your spine up underneath you. So you get that hump in the back. And then go back to the first way. So tilting the pelvis forwards, pushing the tailbone of the spine up in the air, get that dip in the back, and then tilt it backwards, tucking the tailbone underneath you. Try and get that hump in the back. So allow the upper part of the spine to move a little bit as well with it. So as you dip that back down, your head will come up a little bit, and then as you get the hump in the back, your head will start to tuck slightly underneath you. So that's 3. We're going to do 3 more. Just get as much movement as you can into that lower part of the back. That's 4. 2 more. That's 5. Last one. Drop that belly button down to the floor and then pull it in, pushing the back up to the ceiling. Good. Bring it back to neutral. Brilliant. Right, let's go on to the second one. Right, for this second exercise, we're going to be side lying on the floor this time. So lie yourself down on one side. Make sure you've got your hips stacked one on top of the other. So I've got my right leg at the moment I'm going to work first. So make sure that the right hip's then stacked over the top of the left hip. So we've got to be careful that we're not tilting the pelvis one way or the other way like this. So the movement is going to be exercising glute medius. So this muscle, if it's weak, it can actually really affect the lower part of the back. So we're going to try and exercise it to build up some strength in it. So I've got my other arm out on the floor as a support, that base arm. This arm I can put wherever I want. And then with this leg, I'm going to raise it up slightly and I'm going to bring the knee down in front of me to tap the floor. And then from there, I'm going to straighten the leg out like I'm kicking the leg out, but rather than going straight out, I'm actually going to take it back behind me as well. So I can really open up the front of the hip so you can feel this muscle here working on the side of the hip. And then we return, bring it back down. So it's moving on this diagonal format so the knee's on the floor. So we're going to do 6 of these on each leg. So we'll call that 1. Bring it back down, knee taps the floor, and then push that kick out and take it back behind you at the same time. Feel that tension in the side of the hip. That's 2. 3. That's 4. 2 more and then we'll swap sides. So just make sure that the pelvis is not rocking forwards and backwards. So you're keeping all this dead still. It's just the hip and the knee that are moving. So you can really work into that hip. Let's do one more because I've lost count. Last one on this side and we'll switch. Good. Okay, should have felt that on that side of the hip. Let's swap over so we can do the same on the opposite side. So again, just make sure now that you've got the hips stacked one on top of the other, base arm out straight for a little bit of support for your balance, and then going to lift the leg up first of all, bring that knee in so it taps the floor in front of you, and then remember as you straighten the leg out, we're trying to also then take it back to open up the hip so we can really hit this glute med muscle on the side of the hip. So that's 1, 2. Again, make sure you keep the rest of the body as still as you can, so it's just the leg that's moving. 3. Nice, slow and steady, so you can really isolate that muscle on the side of the hip. 4. Mine's burning, don't know about yours. 2 more. 5. Last one. And 6. Good. Okay, right, let's get you up to standing and then we'll go on to the next one. Right, the next exercise we're going to do is hip airplanes. This is where we're going to be internally and externally rotating the actual hip joint while we're standing on one leg. I'm going to be using the chair here for a little bit of support, so it's an assisted hip airplane. If you're more confident or your hip's a lot more stable, then you may find that you can actually do this movement on one leg with your arms out to the side as you rotate it one way and the other way. But I'll let you choose. So I'm going to do it holding onto the chair. So for this one, you're going to start on one leg. We're going to do 6 on one leg going each way, and then we'll change legs and do 6 on the opposite side. So basically it starts off in a Romanian deadlift position, which basically means that I'm going to take this leg up behind, allowing my hip of the support leg just to flex slightly. I'm going to keep a slight bend in this knee, and I'm going to hold onto the side of the chair for some support. Now, while I hold that position, I'm actually going to then rotate my pelvis. So effectively, it's like my belly button that's pointing down to the floor at the moment. I'm going to try and open the hip up so my belly button's pointing towards you. And then I'll bring it back to the center, and then I'll drop this pelvis down. So I'm trying to turn my belly button to point away. And that's where you'll feel a little bit of a stretch around the side of that hip, and then bring it back to the center. So that's the movement. Again, I'm holding on for balance, but if you prefer, you can do it with your arms out to the side. So let's try 6 each way. So we're going to open up the hip one way. As you do that, just check this knee of the support leg to make sure it's not come inwards. It should still stay out. Come back to the middle and then revert to go the other way. So we're rotating it the opposite way, and then bring it back to the center. So that's 1. So open up. You'll feel this working all the muscles around the hip, and then twist the opposite way, going away, back to the center. That's 2. So just be careful, make sure that knee of the support leg is always staying in exactly the same place, and it's not actually being pulled across laterally from left to right. So we've done 3, we'll do 3 more. So open up, bring it back to the middle, and then close it off. And then back to the middle, 2 more. You can really feel that working all around that left hip where I'm on my left foot. Last 1. Back to the middle, then twist away. And back to the middle, come back up. Oh, right, that's 1 done. Now we've got to do the same on the opposite side. So switch onto the opposite foot. Again, start in that Romanian deadlift position. Hold on if you want to, or again, if you've got your arms out to the side doing the traditional hip airplane, you can do that. So check this knee, make sure it's slightly bent, make sure it doesn't move laterally as we open the hip up. So from there, we're going to open up. First of all, pushing that belly button one way, come back to the center, and then close it off, pulling that belly button inwards, back to the center. That's 1. Open, back to center, close, back to center. That's 2. So you notice all the movement is coming from this hip. The backs always should be staying neutral, so try and keep that good posture with your back as you're doing the movement. because it's not using the back for the exercise, it's using all those muscles around the hips. So 4, couple more. Open up, back to center, close it off, back to the middle. 1 more. Check that knee again, make sure it's not starting to twist. Good. Come back upright. Whew. Okay, right, let's go on to the next one. Right, the next one we're going to do is a hip hitch. So for this one, it's probably a good idea to stand alongside a wall or a support, something that you can hold on to if you need to, again, because we're going to be up on one leg. It just helps for balance purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand with my right side close to the wall, and I'm going to lift my right foot just a few inches off the floor. It doesn't have to come up too high. The important thing with this one is to make sure that you're not actually doing this as a movement. It's not so much a hip flexion movement. We're actually going to be working on this hip, and we're going to try and move the pelvis. So the pelvis is going to be rocking one way and then the other way. So as I stand sideways on for a little bit of support, right foot comes up off the floor. So I'm going to let my right side of my pelvis drop down, which is pushing this hip slightly out. And then from there, I'm going to bring this hip in and try and tilt the pelvis to lift this side of the pelvis up, and then drop it back out to the side again. So that's 1. We're going to do 6 of these, and then we'll switch over and we'll do 6 on the opposite side. So I'm going to push this hip in, like I'm trying to drive this side of the hip up towards the door or towards your wall, and then drop back down. So that's 2. Lift, hold for a few seconds, and then drop. So you should really start to feel this working on this side of the hip. Good, and again, so lift, drive it in, lift that pelvis up. Remember, it's not working around this hip, it's more about this one, the foot that's on the floor. Lift it up, and then drop it back down. Let's do 1 more on this side before we switch. So squeeze it in, and then drop. Good. Right, let's switch over so we can do the same on the other side. So now I'm going to be on the left side closest to the wall. So I'm going to lift my left foot slightly off the floor, and then from there, this is the hip that we're working on, my right hip. So I'm going to let the hip just drop out to the side, and then from there I'm going to squeeze using these muscles around the hip to drive my hips in, and also try and lift the pelvis of the left side up, like I'm trying to lift it up the side of the wall or your support, your door, and then drop back down. So that's 1. Lift, get that hip to hitch. That's 2. 3. 4. So again, you should be really starting to feel that work on that side of the hip. Squeeze it in, and then lift that left side up. 5. 1 more. And 6. Good. Right, relax the foot back down. Brilliant. Right, we've got 2 more, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, the next one is going to be a dynamic stretch to stretch out the psoas muscle, which is the muscle that comes around on the front and the side of the hip. So for this one, we're going to be lunging backwards. So we're going to take a step backwards, so the back foot comes up on the ball of the foot. The foot that you take back, the hand on the same side is also then going to reach up. So I'm going to try and push it up as high as you can. And then from there, we're then going to reach across, so leaning away from that side, and you'll feel that stretch come in all around the side of the body. And then we'll come back and we'll do it the same on the opposite side. So we're going to do 6 on each leg on this one. So it doesn't matter which one you start off with. So start off with then, take 1 foot back and raise the same side arm up. So we're going to push that hips forwards, just try and tilt your tailbone over your spine underneath you slightly. That'll start to generate a bit of a stretch on the front of the hip. Then you're going to be really thinking about reaching this arm up and then lean across, and you'll feel that stretch all the way down the side of the body. And then bring it back, come back forwards, and then do the same on the other side. So foot back, up on the ball of the foot, reach up for this one, tuck your tailbone underneath you, get the stretch on the front of the hip as you reach up, and then lean across away to generate more of a stretch on that one side. Bring it back, come back to your start position. All right, that's 1 on each side. Let's do the next one. So step back, reach up, tuck your tailbone underneath, lean across, bring it back, come forwards, opposite side. Step back, tuck your tailbone underneath, reach up on the same side, and then lean across. bring it back, forwards. Good, that's 2. Opposite side. That's 3 on that one. Opposite one. Reach up and across. Good. So that's 3 each, 3 more. Step back, reach up, lunge in and reach across. Good. Back up, opposite side. Step back, reach up, lunge in, tuck that tailbone underneath you, reach across. Back up to the start, just 2 more each side. Step back, reach up, lunge in, tuck that tailbone underneath, reach across. Good. Opposite side. Lunge, tuck that tailbone underneath, reach across. You should feel that really nice stretch coming all the way down the front and the sides down here. 1 more on each side then. So step back, lunge down a bit, tuck the tailbone underneath you, reach up and lean across. Good. Back up to the start, last time on the opposite side. So step back, lunge down, tuck your tailbone underneath, reach up and lean across. And then back up. Good, right, let's go on to the last exercise. Okay, the last exercise we're gonna do is a spinal hygiene stretch, and this is a great one for a cool down. This is also an exercise that you could do at any time of the day, particularly if you've been sat down a lot at a desk. Get up after about an hour or so and you can do this stretch just to really try and help with the spine. So all we're gonna do, simple, is to have your feet about shoulder width wide. Just have one hand on top of the other slightly, and you're gonna stretch the arms up as straight as you can above the head. Once you've got your arms out straight, you're just gonna then try and lean the arms back slightly to really try and open up the spine. Hold it there for a couple of seconds and then release. So we're gonna do this one 6 times. So again, one hand on top of the other, reach up towards the ceiling, get your arms as straight as you can first of all, like you're trying to lift everything up, and then just start to take the arms back, open it up, a couple of seconds, and release. That's 2. Next one. So reach up, see if you can lift those shoulders up towards the ceiling, really try and stretch out that spine, and then open up by leaning the arms backwards slightly, and release. Good. Next one. Reach up, stretch, and then take it back, and release. Good. Let's just do 2 more. So one hand on top of the other, reach up first of all, lift those shoulders up, and then take the arms back as far as you can. Release. 1 more. Reach up as high as you can, stretch back, open it up, and release. Good, well done, hope you enjoyed that, good work. I hope this exercise routine will help you manage your back pain in the long term. If you enjoyed it, then please give it a like by clicking the thumbs up button below to help this channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay active, keep moving, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video today, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click here to subscribe to this channel, or click here to watch a recent video. See you soon.